Hello and welcome to your astrological forecast for July 2026. If you like the video, then press the like button and please become a subscriber. It all helps to spread the word of astrology. In this video, I'm going to take a look at the planetary aspects, the players for July 2026. And in the second part, I'll look at the sun signs stroke rising signs for the 12 signs of Zodiac and how that's going to manifest for July 2026. So let's get started with a bit of an overview and an introduction to the month ahead. Okay, July. Here's the big news straight away. There is a conjunction right about the 2nd and the 3rd of July between Mars, which is in Gemini, and Uranus, which is in Gemini. This is significant. If you think about Mars, Mars is the planet of action, being decisive. It's also known as the god of war. Not that I'm trying to scare anybody, but I'm just suggesting that there's heavy symbolism around this. Uranus is the planet of innovation, the planet of disruption, unpredictability, liberation as well. These two planets are actually quite similar energetically. They're both unpredictable. So what we do know is in that first week of July, things are going to be disrupted, unpredictable, a little bit chaotic, a kind of clearing the decks of the old and bringing in the new. In terms of technology, this is a huge shift that's taking place. It may not be things that are in the news, but things that are happening in the background that suddenly are becoming much more apparent or a reality. Politically, a little bit unstable here. People making decisions that are far too impulsive, or people just wanting to change things up just for the sake of it. So this is bang straight away in July. We've kind of been building up to it. Mars in Gemini works on a very nice level actually, although it's a bit undirected, but it has been in Taurus for the last 6 weeks, and you know, Mars and Taurus is not exactly the best combination, so Mars has a little bit of wriggle room to do its thing, but this is still challenging, you know, in terms of the conjunction with Uranus. So that is the first thing that's going to take place. This is the thing that's going to make this month pop a little. Get ready, folks. You know, it's going to be one of those months where where it started off from is not where we all end. I think as well that if you look at other combinations that are going on, we've got a Mercury retrograde. That retrograde is right and through till about the 23rd of July, and it's in Cancer. And that adds this kind of misdirection, miscommunication, things causing problems, particularly again from a political perspective. I have to say as well that I feel like, you know, that planet of Mercury is not really combining with other planets. So it's kind of out on its own. And that for me is more of a bit of a worry, because then it's Mercury just, you know, unblemished. It's just going to run riot a little bit here. I always say that the Mercury retrograde always has a relationship with the previous Mercury retrograde, which was in March of this year. So if delays have happened March, they may come back in when we go into July, or you may things start to turn around. Mercury retrograde is not always really difficult. Sometimes things can get moving if it's related to the previous Mercury retrograde. So just be kind of aware of that. Also, let's talk about Jupiter. Jupiter is now in Leo, and is moving forward and is, you know, in opposition with Pluto, forming an opposition with Pluto. And, you know, this is, for me, another major configuration. Pluto is going retrograde, and then you've got Jupiter moving forward. But, you know, these two planets are big players in the astrological sky. And, you know, the thing that unites these two planets is this word magnified, everything gets bigger under Jupiter and everything seems bigger under Pluto. It really does magnify situations and things. So it might be that we, again, link it in with the Mars and Uranus, that we find that suddenly things are a bit unpredictable, and we may even make this as a collective basis even feel like it's the end, things are just unraveling. That's the magnification of the Jupiter opposing Pluto. And that for me is huge, because Jupiter is a societal planet. And what we're dealing with is we're dealing with the unconscious collective coming up to the surface and having to deal with this. There's no room to hide. There's no way to hide during July. It's just such a huge kind of month with these aspects that are taking place. You know, and for me, you know, this is going to be one of those months where I look at it and go, hang on here, you know, this is one of the months that changes the rhetoric, that changes the way, the discourse of where we're all going, you know, politically, economically, culturally as well. I think is also a huge thing. Let's look at the new moons. Well, we've got the new moon on the 14th. That's at 21 degrees in Cancer. At that time as well, it'll be sort of making a bit of a conjunction with the Mercury retrograde as well, which is still retrograde at that particular time as well. Having said that, a new moon in Cancer is in its rulership, so it does give a little bit of stability and a new way of thinking, particularly about home, domestic matters, stuff like that. And then the full moon right at the end of the month is at the 29th. That's at 6 degrees in Aquarius. That's the big one. Because what happens is that is going to make a conjunction with Pluto and oppose Jupiter. So that's a huge month. You remember, like, the whole aspect about, you know, full moons is the fact that it's, you know, on a sort of very simplistic scale, it's about endings. It's about purification. It's about closing a chapter, beginning a new one. But let's look at it more detailed. It's in Aquarius. The moon in Aquarius is actually quite challenging. Aquarius is a fixed zodiac sign and an air sign. And the moon is all about the emotional, the memories, what we absorb. So these two actually find it quite difficult. It's not an easy one. You put Pluto on top of that, and then you put an opposition with Jupiter. You're dealing with a full moon that is steeped in what is happening as a collective, what is happening to humanity, what is happening to technology that is starting to take over human beings in terms of jobs and roles that they have in life. And this will be the first point of connection with that will make us all think, hang on, we're heading into a completely different direction here, and we don't know where we're going or what's going to happen as human beings and as a society, the collective society. That's Aquarian themes. This is all, as I said, all happening with that energy of Pluto sitting there, bringing things up to the surface. It's huge, huge aspects. So, you know, this is a big month. On the other planets, Venus is going to be traveling in Leo, and then about the 10th it moves into Virgo. It's not so happy in Virgo. Saturn is moving through Aries, but it starts to go retrograde on the 27th. Neptune also goes retrograde around about the 7th in Aries. So again, that re-emphasizes this retrograde motion. This is a manic month. This is a crazy month. You know, and I don't want to say it's negative or positive, because there's so many grey areas, but it's certainly a month where some people will actually advance in this. Some people will feel like they're actually advancing in life. Some people will feel like the fear, you know, and of course, fear breeds fear. So we have to be really, really careful of that. But also, it is a cycle that is going to really kind of be very external. Things are going to happen that people are going to go, oh my God, you know, things are changing, aren't they? And I think that in itself, it's going to be how we respond to that and how we deal with that. That's really going to be the main thing. Okay, so big month. Let's get straight into the 12 zodiac signs. This is for your sun sign or your rising sign. So if you've got a sun in Aries, but your rising sign is Cancer, then listen to Aries and Cancer. They both apply. Okay. All right. So let's start off with Aries sun and Aries rising. Okay, guys, your ruler is Mars. Your ruler is conjunct to Uranus at the start of the month. Major. Okay, and it's all happening in your third house. That's the house of communication. That is the house of short distance travel. That is the house of your mobile, your laptop, your Mac, how you get to work, your car, your neighbors, your siblings, how you communicate, your emails, your websites. It's going to be a big month for you, Aries. You've got a lot going on. You've got Saturn retrograde in the end of the month, as well as Neptune in your own sign. You've got Mars really battling out with Uranus in the sky. This is about you bringing out your ideas, but try not to get into too many battles during this particular period, because it's going to be exhausting. You've got to think on your feet a lot here. There's a playful energy coming towards you by Jupiter being in your 5th house. But hey, this is quite a big thing that's going on. And I think that for a lot of Aries, they're going to find that suddenly life, if it's been a bit slow, because let's be honest, you've had, Saturn transit in your own house, and also tracking Neptune as well, which kind of can feel a bit nebulous and a bit kind of smoke and mirrors. Suddenly life's going to pick up. You may make some very bold decisions during this period. You may actually begin to take things a little bit more grabbing the bull by the horns, as they say, or maybe the ram by the horns, whatever. Anyway, my point being is you're going to be making decisions, and those decisions are going to have some big consequences for the rest of this year. The trick really is going to be to stay grounded during this particular period, because it's very easy to get all spun out, particularly at the beginning of the month. That is going to be pretty exhausting. And, this comes in with on the 14th, you've got the new moon in 4th house, your 4th house, which is the house of the home, the family and stuff like that, which is also getting that balance right for you. So I feel like this month is such a big month for Aries. It really, really is. You can make great strides ahead and really kind of rocket forward. So it's not one of those situations where I think, you can't make decisions. But it is a tricky month. The first week, my advice would be, if it's got innovation and it's outside the box, then go for it. Because I think what you'll find is that you'll like the challenge, and I think that's what really comes across here. That challenge is so important. And if you haven't got challenge in your life, Aries, then you do feel a bit sort of like you're just floating around, and that doesn't do you any good. So this is quite a big month for you. Okay, Taurus sun, Taurus rising. Okay, Taurians. Let's talk about Venus. Venus is sort of traveling, in your 3rd house before it moves into your 4th house, which is the home, the family, stuff like that. But it changes into Virgo around about the 9th, 10th. And that for me is where there's a little bit of an issue, because Venus does not really bode well within Virgo. It's a little bit challenged. And it does, it's placed in your kind of 5th house, which is the house of creativity and self-expression, pleasure, romance, sport. So there's definitely leanings towards enjoying oneself. But let's talk also about Jupiter, because Jupiter's in your 4th house. So I think suddenly things are going to get really busy around the home life. The expansion is going to come here. You might be thinking about moving, or a move is on the agenda. there's some kind of expansion happening with the home and the family that is significant. And I think that that is going to be where a lot of things are going to go towards. However, Taurians are a little bit sort of, don't really like change. So they might find that a little bit unsettling. You've also just had Chiron briefly that's kind of gone into your own zodiac sign. That went on the 19th of May. So it's now firmly in your sign. It will go back into Aries, but at the moment it's in your own sign. And that's in the house of you, which is basically how you portray yourself, how you want to portray yourself. You may want to change the way that you appear. You may want to get rid of old wounds that seem to come across in your body language, or that you may think they come across in your body language. You may want to kind of change things up in terms of, hairstyles or the type of clothes that you wear. And this is the sort of reinvention that's taking place. And this will take place over a long period of time. But the first seeds of that idea might actually, come up an awful lot for you. And that is going to be really kind of significant for you, I think. And make this month a little bit of a month of a little bit unbalanced. However, let's talk about that Uranus and Mars conjunction, because that's all happening in your second house, the house of finances. Big decisions in the first week of July to do with your finances, how you make your money, what you need to do. You might have to think outside the box. You might have to look at it in a different way and go for it. But things are changing in the way you look at your money. This is a 6.5 year process. But with the Mars, it's bringing it to attention and going, no, the way you make money is going to be different. And it's going to bring in new opportunities. And no matter how far-fetched or strange those opportunities are to you, go for them. Be open to them, because that's part of the Uranus journey for yourself. Okay, right, Gemini Sun, Gemini Rising. Huge month for Geminis. This is when your year really kicks into gear. My God. So Uranus has now transited from the 26th of April into your own zodiac sign. So it's, it starts off at 3 degrees in Gemini. We got Mars now joining the party. All in your first house, the house of you. It's interesting because I'm going to put in the word freedom. I think Geminis are going to experience a kind of a sense of freedom and a sense of not being wanted to be restricted by other people, not wanted to be restricted by circumstances or situations that they feel that they have got no control over. I feel that they're going to be a little bit more stubborn, a little bit more, no, this is about me, thanks very much. And I think that that's how Geminis are going to be. I think it's going to be this is when Uranus really starts to speak to the twins and get them actually kind of going, no, this is a new cycle. I'm not going backwards. I'm going forwards. I'm going to look at different kind of things, different themes, and I'm going to really bring it in. And I think that's going to be really, really positive for you. You've got your ruler Mercury to contend with, which is retrograde, which is hitting your second house, which is the house of finance. So there is a reevaluation that needs to happen with your finances during this particular period. But I think it's more about the freedomistic aspect of it and you feeling that now you've got an opportunity to really do what you've wanted to do. Particularly, I have to say, within, stuff like career and stuff like that. I think that is starting to really begin to show. And I think that the Uranus energy is now in sort of full flow, and you're less restricted by other people, less restricted by even the way that you think about yourself and where your life is going. So a big, big month for Geminis. Okay, Cancerians. First of all, you've got on the 14th, you've got the new moon in your own zodiac sign, about 21 degrees in Cancer. Nice, very nice. We like that. Anything to do with the moon here is good. The Mars Uranus is all happening in the 12th house, which is the house of the unconscious or subconscious, the house of self-undoing, the house of reflection, seclusion. So I don't think it's going to be as dramatic month for you as much as other people. But I do kind of feel like there is, right at the sort of the end of the month, when we've got this opposition between Jupiter and Pluto. That's happening in, you know, the financial aspects of your chart. So there is this kind of need about survival to do with finances. And it may be that you're looking at a business idea, maybe that you're looking at how to make more money or a new job that can give you more flexibility. And I think that I think the first half of the month for a lot of Cancerians will be relatively quiet. Then you have the new moon, that really kicks into gear. And by the end of the month, things are kind of, there's a lot going on here that is sort of taking place. And I think that for a majority of you, you're going to be really kind of looking at how to get the best out of the second half of the year and putting things into place that will have an impact on you. Okay, Leo, Sun, Leo rising, right? Big, huge month. Jupiter's now in your own sign. It will be for about 11 months and 11 months, 11 and a half months, let's say. The first thing's happening is Jupiter is opposing Pluto in your 7th house. And on the 29th, you got a full moon at 6 degrees in Aquarius in your 7th house. This is a lot to do with other people. Big changes are going to be happening for you, Leos. It's huge. It might feel a little bit like everything's changed in a very short space of time. Everything's just got bigger. Everything has suddenly shifted from one thing to the other. It's a month of polarity and, in a way, extremes. That's not an easy way to put it, but that's how it is. And I think it's about how you actually deal with those extremes that's going to be one of the things that's going to test you as well. Jupiter and Pluto dancing with each other can mean, in an opposition, that you're dealing with people's projections of how they think that you should be, and your own inner needs as well, that are going to be in battle with those people who think that they know better. It sounds complicated, doesn't it? And it is, and that's the problem with it. It's going to be complicated. It's going to be a little bit messy at times. But my God, it's such a changeable month. And again, this is the Pluto really being enjoyed, because the Pluto is kind of Jupiter really being enjoyed. Don't know if you can enjoy Pluto so much. That's another video. But like Jupiter, you definitely can. But it's about how you react to situations. Change is on the horizon, so embrace it. Don't be scared of it. You know, Leo is a fixed sign, so it doesn't particularly like change or changes outside its comfort zone. But now it's kind of going, yeah, okay, you got to go for this. And I feel like if you be open, then how it starts at July at the beginning of the month is going to totally change. Also, friendships becoming quite important, all unpredictable or open opportunities for you because of the Mars, Uranus being in your 11th house. Okay, let's go straight into Virgo. Virgo, Sun, Virgo rising. Okay, the ruler, Mercury, is retrograde. Yes, we know, that's very familiar for Virgos. It's happening in 11th house, the house of the collective, the house of friendships, groups, societies, house of ideas as well, hopes, dreams, wishes, what we want out of the future. So it may be, you know, you're reflecting on what you want and stuff like that. You know, I also think Jupiter's got into a 12th house, where it's traditionally in its kind of rulership, which means there's a lot of inner work to be done. Inner expansion, how you view the world, how you view yourself, how you want to deal with the more spiritual aspects of your personality, and I think that's fantastic and really, really good. The new moons and full moons aren't really hitting you at all, but let's just talk about Mars and Uranus, because that's all, that conjunction in the first week of the month is all happening in your 10th house, which is the house of career. So for Virgos, it's a big career month for you. Big decisions can be made. Something might come out of nowhere that changes the way that you see yourself and the way that you want to see yourself, and that having quite an impact on you, which I think is absolutely huge. But it's all about inner motivations. It's that Jupiter opposing Pluto, 12th house to the 6th house in your solar chart. And I feel like with you at this particular stage, that you're going to find yourself in a position where something's just going to come out of nowhere, career or the path that you're on. And you're either going to go, yeah, I'll do that, I'll take that. Or you go, do you know what? No. My advice is just see where it takes you. Don't overanalyze it. Don't overthink it. I know you Virgos have a tendency to do that, but try not to do that, because this is about going with the flow. But it's also, it's an awakening of different values for you. Okay, let's go into Libra Sun, Libra Rising. Yeah, Venus has been, your ruler has been a little bit quiet this month, which is good. I think there's a lot of ideas, a lot of study coming up for you, a lot of opportunities that's starting to present itself around you, which I think is kind of nice for you. Jupiter's kind of just gone into your 11th house, so you're looking at things in a different way. You're kind of looking at what you would like for the future, being a bit more expansive, looking at wanting to connect with the similar people for yourself. And I think that's going to be a kind of a big thing for you. And also, I think you want to be a bit more playful, a bit more out there than you have been. The main thing is the Saturn, Neptune. They're both going retrograde at different points in this month. And the thing about that, it's all happening in the 7th house. And I think it's about reviewing how you react to other people. Saturn is definitely giving you discipline. It has done since February. It's made you have to kind of work harder than you probably like. Neptune is slightly diluting the way that you see yourself with other people. And that, with Neptune, that's meant to happen. It's meant to dissolve and then something new to emerge. So I feel like that those two planets are really kind of having quite a major effect on you and your sense of self. And Saturn's now in the position of going, okay, since February, what have you achieved? What have you learned? Let's review that. That's what Saturn's doing. Saturn's always a planet of maturity and what we learn from the past and how we put it to good use. So it's a bit of a review month for you Librans. Okay, Scorpio Sun, Scorpio Rising. Oh, right. Well, traditionally your ruler is Mars, and that's a big player this month. And in modern astrology, your ruler is Pluto, and that's a big player of the month. So you've got these two planets that are really combining with Uranus and Jupiter, meaning big month for you. A lot is going to take place. The fact is that I'm going to go with the Pluto because the Mars and Uranus are kind of in aversion to you. They're in Gemini, so it's in a sign that you don't have a natural affinity with. So you don't. It can be a bit blindsiding, that kind of energy, and that's all going to be happening in the 8th house, which is kind of the house of other people's stuff, other people's money, investment in you. So you're not necessarily going to get that kind of energy of the unpredictablest like other signs of zodiac. But the Pluto is all happening in the 4th house, opposing Jupiter in the 10th house. So you've got the career and you've got the home life and you've got you all happening in these angular houses in your solar chart. That means this is a little bit of a chaotic month for you, where the demands that are put on you are going to be a lot from other people, from yourself, from your career, from your family. And you're going to feel a little bit, as I said earlier, a bit blindsided because the Mars is in aversion to your 1st house, which means that you don't necessarily, you can't plan it. Busy, transformative month, trying to get a balance between the home life, the career, your aspirations, you know. And sometimes within that, you've got to make decisions that benefit you, but also consider other people. I mean, that's the balance that's the tricky bit, I would say. What I would advise is other people will definitely put demands on you that you don't necessarily need to take on board at this moment. Because their demands you cannot control. You can only control what's in front of you and what you want to do. And I think that's the sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a totem, like an affirmation this month is focus on yourself. Okay, let's go into Sagittarius Sun, Sagittarius Rising. Relationships, other people. It's all going to be going disrupted. Because that Uranus and Mars is in your 7th house, things could get out of hand. Saggies are very good at kind of getting round stuff or using humour or ways to get around, but there is this really unpredictable edge that's going to take place. It could be in the form of relationship. It could be in the form of other people's projection onto you. But, you know, this is going to be an interesting month for you, Saggies. You know, your ruler Jupiter is in a fire sign now, Leo, which is, you know, a lot happier. You know, and it can actually create visions, and it wants to travel and it wants to do stuff. But, you know, this is going to be all about other people and how that they look at themselves. There's going to be a new learning or ideas about learning or training that's going to come about that I think you have to seriously consider and really think about and given those opportunities. But it's a huge month. Other people are going to be disruptive. Other people are going to bring in surprises. Other people are going to take you off in a different direction in life. It's either you go with it or you don't. That's up to you. But, you know, this is all about an awakening of different values about how you see yourself with other people. Okay, let's go into Capricorn Sun, Capricorn Rising. All right. Saturn, your ruler, goes retrograde this month. It's basically doing it right at the end of the month, around about the 27th. And in a lot of ways, it's all happening in the 4th house. So there's things to do with the home, the family that are taking place here that are changing around you. So I feel like for a lot of you, it's going to be responsibilities to home, explaining to stuff to a lot of people, trying to manage other people's expectations of you in a way. And I think that, you know, your home environment, your work environment is also going to change around this time because of the Uranus Mars, particularly in the first week of July, that's going to take place. It's one of those where I kind of feel very much that there's a lot that's sort of taking place around re-looking at how you want your life to be. And it's all good. You're very responsible people, but like sometimes we have to be ambitious. Sometimes we've got to go for things that we really kind of believe in. And we've got to know that our own inner motivations are in the right place. And I think there's a lot of bit of soul searching that's going on for you Capricorns this month. And I think that that is going to make things a little bit more clearer for you. Also the financial aspects, things particularly first in July, seemingly a little bit magnified. It might be that the fear comes into you, or that you need to evaluate the money situation, but there's a huge amount. That's because of the Pluto opposing Jupiter from your 2nd house to your 8th house, and those are the financial houses in astrology. So there's a lot kind of taking place with that, and you just got to be kind of step back and review it like you Capricorns do. But suddenly you're pushed to a powers of position and authority much more. Okay, Aquarius Sun, Aquarius Rising. One of the things about Aquarians is going to be the Pluto opposing Jupiter towards the end of the month. You've also got a full moon on the 29th as well. So there's a lot going on with Aquarians. But it's also a lot going on with other people because Jupiter has just gone into your 7th house. But this is all opposing Pluto. So other people are bringing in changes for you, and the quick and the sharp, and everything suddenly is a bit chaotic for you, more chaotic than you would like, and you're like, oh God, how do I deal with this? You've got to be your objective self. You know, you've got to stand back and see this as potential, because I tell you what, that Uranus Mars is all happening in your 5th house, the house of self-expression. There's things that are changing around you, and my thing would be enjoy it, because it's going to put you on a different path. But in order for you to do that, you need to break away from some of the old things that you've been doing, the old patterns of behavior, to bring the new. And I think this month is kind of encapsulates that. It's like getting rid of all the dead wood almost out of your life that no longer kind of serves you, and actually focus on the new. So things start to really kind of manifest. And what it lends to is a much more creative being, a much more individualistic, and happy to be in that position. Look at the last 7 years, what it's brought you. You've had to be very adaptable in the home environment. Now it's kind of like with your creativity, the way that you see yourself, it's all changing. But this month might feel a little bit overwhelming at times, like you got too much. Get through it, because as we get into August, it'll start to slow down and it will start to balance out for you. Okay, Pisces Sun, Pisces Rising. Pisces is interesting. It's a lot of it is all about money, all about finances. That's really the main thing that's coming up with all of this. You know, you've got the Mars Uranus happening in the communication part of your chart. So it's not the communication part of the chart. Rewind. It's a Mercury retrograde moment. All happening in the fourth house, the home, the family, stuff like that, moving. So there's a lot of, this first week of July is going to be quite chaotic for you, Pisces. You know, in terms of the home, the family, property, all of that, it's going to be chaotic. It's going to be, you have to make quick decisions that are sort of taking place here that are going to bring in a lot of changes for you. Also, your working environment is going to change. You've got Jupiter going through your 6th house as well. So for Pisces, but Pisces is so adaptable as a sign. They sort of roll with the punches. They kind of go, okay, you know, this is what's happening. I'll just go along with it. It's actually, Pisces find it more difficult when it's all slowed down and nothing's happening. That's where they really kind of find it challenging. This, they'll kind of go, great, you know, this is fantastic, all change, fantastic, great, happy. So it's not going to be as chaotic as other signs of zodiac for you, because you feel a little bit more like, oh, this is opportunities. So it will be the people around you that you've got to be careful of. I talked about the communication. Actually, what I was talking about was the Chiron. You're going to have to learn to communicate in a much more effective, grounded way. That's because of the Chiron traveling in your 3rd house. It's going to be a way of, you know, less is more sometimes. And I think sometimes Pisces have the ability to communicate or say too much, and they've got to kind of curtail that. This is a long transit, so it's not going to happen in this sort of month, but it's going to be a case of the circumstances are going to be put to you where you have to communicate more effectively or consider the needs of other people. There we go, July. Oh my God, crazy month, crazy month. Listen, guys, if you liked the video, press the like button, become a subscriber. It all helps, and I shall see you very soon with another video. Enjoy your month ahead. Thank you for watching.